Well, guess who's finally making videos again? I didn't feel like streaming these last couple of weeks. I've been kind of not great, but I'm back. I need to make more content, and I think that Unite is a good place to start since I really don't want to have wild roof discussions with people that don't actually know what the fuck they're talking about. Um, Again, as usual, follow the Twitter. That's where I post most of the stuff if I'm not doing videos. We're gonna be going through first today, week 4, Unite Makes Mayhem. It's on the Unite Makes YouTube channel. They're at Unite Makes on Twitter as well, on Twitch. They're the people that I'm getting the film from, so follow them as well. We're also just gonna make this easier and open that up and just. Okay, cool. So this is pre-patch. Mewtwo is banned, as far as I know. In general, I'm not a huge fan of the Mewtwo bans. I think I've talked about it a few times, but that doesn't really matter since TOs do whatever the fuck they want. So let's see, what do we have here? Not a huge fan of these two in combination. That's a shitty. Goddamn, I lose my fucking mojo and I don't draw for a week. Not a huge fan of those two in combination. It's a really heavy early game comp, similar to like the Leafeon, Glaceon stuff that you'll see, except in this case, A9's not going to be the carry. They're going to have the Glaceon as the jungler most likely, and then the Ninetales probably doing like a split map. I think would be the best scenario here, where you have something like that, so that you can get the early pressure that you'd like to have on towards something like the Blastoise. Yeah, I think that's probably what we're gonna see here. Top lane matchup is fine. Nothing super interesting there. Same with jungle support matchups. I don't think there's anything super cool. I'm not a huge fan of this comp. Although I like all these, like I like Hoopa, I like Slowbro, and I like Venusaur obviously, but I don't really like how they fit together as this like weird trio, because he's going to come online really late into the game. Hoopa wants you to make early macro rotations, especially around like the 2 to 4 minute mark. Obviously, like he scales very well as well, but you really want to take advantage of the hyperspace hole once you get that up end available. And then I don't really think that there's any sort of synergy here in terms of like, I guess if you go pedal dance, you're running full dive with these three, and then Hoopa sort of as a core, just using him for the utility. Doesn't really fit into a dive comp, but I think he's just so good that it doesn't matter. But like I said, I think that like as long as they go full dive here, I don't have too big of a problem with this. I think that all these are good pieces individually, and so it works. Over here, this is like just a good mid-range, I don't know, space control comp. Like they're not really like a poke comp. I don't think that's a great description of it, but like Zacian's gonna take very good space control with his abilities. Same with Glaceon, same with A9, and Umbreon as well with Snarl, and Mean Look, and then A9 having the ability to just clear out like a little bit of space, probably about that much using their abilities. And then obviously Glaceon with space control as well with its Unite move. Like just generally a very good space control composition, and I think that it fits very well into what they're playing here. Because like I said, if the Venusaur doesn't go dive here, they go towards the like poke Solar Beam Venusaur build. I think that puts this composition in a really weird spot, because you're gonna have like two really hard backline members, and then he wants to go in, he wants to go in, he wants to go in, and so you're in this weird spot where you're kind of playing counter engage, but like there's going to be no hard engage from the side. It's really going to be like, hey, we're just going to continue moving in and oppressing you out of certain amounts of space within the map. So I'm not really a huge fan of what has been drafted over here on red side. Like I think that both these drafts are fine individually. I just don't really like the interactions between the individual Pokemon and like how it interacts over here in terms of like, hey, this is our goal. I'm going to be trying to pause less as well. I think that it's just generally better to be able to not pause if you're doing analysis. I think it's also good for real-time coaching and being able to do adjustments post-game. I think I've been pausing a little bit too much. So first thing that we immediately notice is split map jungling. That's not something that I'm a huge fan of. I really like to see the split map, get the Glaceon up early, get the Alolan Ninetales up early, just get them that extra like bit of XP. Early laning phase, 7-2, so going pretty well for A9 so far. Like to see this get scored, but that's a little bit too much. It's not going to be able to get a lot of stacks in terms of what's going on there. Like I said, Hoopa's just a fucking menace in terms of the top lane. Going for that early invade is great as well. Because he just gets this. Yeah, so he just takes the red buff solo. I was like, I thought I missed that, and I was like, what? Okay, that's fine then, yeah. So I really like this then. So what you'll see here is Cubfoo's still going to hit 5 by the time it gets this. It doesn't actually need the red buff. You can see it goes up there. And so, again, I really like this. Hoopa's a menace in the early laning phase. I've been pretty notable about how I think that this champion beats a lot of other top laners in a straight-up one-on-one. Like, I think it beats Lapras. I think it beats Zacian. I think it also beats Buzzwole. Basically, anybody that can't close space on it, it'll beat. I don't think it beats Blaziken because Blaziken, I think, just scales super hard once it hits Unite move, and I think that becomes really hard for Hoopa to deal with how much range Blaziken has. But like I think that Hoopa will beat the sort of melee top laners in a 1v1 90% of the time. So I really like giving it the red buff. It's also just like nice for the extra power. You don't like to see this going on in the bot lane. Like A9 is very far ahead so far. What was it at? Yeah, so you can see about a quarter, 3/4 of the way ahead. So not necessarily great in terms of what's going on here so far. So early pressure top for top B. They've got a lot more space. Yeah, that's sort of what you're expecting. You don't really like how little they got off of that. It's very much like this is like if like you don't like to see that. You have great advanced positioning in terms of the bush, and you don't get a ton in terms of the bees, because I think 18, 10, 18, 10, 9, 10, 2, 18. Nine. So Hoopa gets 1 at least. 12. 10. Who gets that? Okay. So it's split relatively evenly, but at the same time, you would like to see grabbing more of that in terms of the pace that you're getting, especially with this advanced positioning that I think is really good in lane. So you're not a huge fan of that. Adjustments I'd make so far if I were either team. Split jungling as well. I think that's very important. Other than that, I'd like to get this Hoopa a little bit more involved. Obviously, I don't think that's necessarily going to happen for 850. I think that's a little bit unreasonable. The bigger thing I think is to just say like, hey, we can't flip this gank. We have this Glaceon fucking dead to rights. We need to get a kill here, or like some sort of marginal advantage that we can transfer to the other side of the map before they can make any sort of rotation. Because that's the end goal here with Hoopa, is like you want to get a shove in a lane and then immediately transition that using Hyperspace Hole to a different lane, and I don't think that they're going to be able to accomplish that right now. That's a good kill. See, that's what you're looking for. That is an ambitious dive, but again, Hoopa just bailing people out. This is why this champion is fucking busted beyond belief. I don't like that they don't give a portal to Urshi here. I feel like you want to give it maybe a little bit more support. I don't like having it at half HP. Although it'll definitely get a good amount of HP back from the jungle monsters, I think you'd like to Hyperspace Hole here. Be able to let the Urshi come down here with full health. Although it looks like it'll be back to full anyways, it's going to go farm up, so I think that's fine. Or total just not getting the timing there is unfortunate. It's one of those, well, I just gotta like, be more aware next time. Urshi does get the mid Bs though off of it, which is like in terms of prio, I think that's fine. I don't know the XP math on that in terms of like mid Bs for kill, but given that he's only level 5, it's probably pretty reasonable. Lower level kills are worth like peanuts in terms of like neutral mons, so I think it's fine. It's not something that I would be upset at if I was coaching a team, so it's like, yeah, we gotta go next on that. Just like play more careful in terms of war total. Again, I'm not a fan of double top pressure here, especially if you have Hoopa. So a bigger adjustment that I'd be making is I'm like, I want a hyperspace hole here to here and like immediately create pressure. If you watch, it's Omo, yeah, it was Omo in the finals versus LG. If you watch Omo just like with the junior absent on Hoopa, especially in the upper bracket finals when they won the game, I think, yeah, they won the game. But, like, you'll see a lot of this where, like, they'll push top super hard with Zoro Hoopa, immediately, like, get a kill, portal bot side. Just, like, no, like, recalling, none of that shit. Just, like, straight up, like, hey, we've got a kill, we go bot. Because you know that you have a man advantage in terms of jungler down here, and you have an XP advantage, so what you're going to do is that you have that XP advantage, and you need to transfer that elsewhere. Kind of looks like a smiley face. Winky face. But yeah, like once you get the XP advantage up here, you need to transfer that down here because Venusaur is the most important champion in the game right now. It's not like a Draven effect where it's like if Venusaur doesn't get a kill, it's game over. But like if the Venusaur doesn't come online in terms of like I think you want it to hit 13, get that second upgrade in terms of like the Petal Dance or the Solar Beam, whatever you're going. It's especially important if you're playing the Solar Beam. Excuse me. Yeah, it's especially important if you're playing a Solar Beam to get that second upgrade. I think to just have the extra CDR and damage. It's really nice. But I'm expecting they should probably go Petal Dance here, and even then, you want the Petal Dance upgrade. You can get away with 11, having the Giga Drain upgrade, I think, and just having that be fine. But you really want to put this guy. You want to put some XP into this guy and like have him have a good time. And he's like having an okay time right now, but not a great time. Like, definitely recovered the lane in terms of points, but it's not necessarily fixed. Yeah, and like, I don't think this lane matters. I just don't. Like, I understand wanting to get this guy to as much power as possible, but like, he's already behind a good amount, and like, I think that you understand that like, you're playing against one of the best players in the world. No offense to these guys, but they aren't necessarily as good, and you should exploit the weak side, which is that. You should not be playing strong side into whoever is the best on their team, I think. Especially, like, because they're in a neutral position here. I think this is, like, a very neutral position. I don't think anybody has a super big lead. Like, 7-7, 6-6, 5 on the carries, the extra 6. Like, it's basically the same. It's basically the same on everybody, right? And, like, I think if you're in a neutral position, you don't care about, like, putting this guy behind or, like, evening out this, because, like, you expect your top laner, your Blastoise here, to lose anyways, I think. And if he is going to lose anyways, let him lose gracefully up here and then just, like, run this. Like, just run the score up down here, pushing that out. Especially because, like, I think as well, after first Reggie, trading isn't as valuable, and that makes this a whole lot more prio. So I'm just not a huge fan of how they're playing this out. So they got what 38 points from that. So yeah, like there is, like I said, this is just not a good play. There, obviously, clicker marker. I'm not playing the fucking game, but I just don't see this decision making being good in any scenario. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, this guy is the important lane. You're letting them get pushed in for free. Like, you also have vision, and, like, you don't need to commit this hard. I think also taking the Hoopa portal backing there is really fucking weird. Like, you just want to get Hoopa down here as quick as possible. like I said, generally not a fan of how they did that. It's also not a bad overcap 19. It's like pretty good for this early in the game. Like, and at this point, making this rotation down here is nice, but like, what does it do? It does nothing. So like, I feel like these guys are like a beat behind, or just not necessarily as quick as I would like in terms of making the plays that I think are optimal. Not gonna trade here, which is fine. I think you can afford to fight this. This is it. Like I said, it's still a relatively even game state, but I don't like this. This is the biggest issue in terms of like if you're gonna contest this guy needs to be here early, and like he needs to be here before the objective happens because this is just not what you want to see. This does mean they'll likely get the reset to top as well. So I hope they don't try to commit to the score here and just run top. And they are not going to do that. Yeah. Like, you're never going to score here. It just doesn't happen. Especially with Blissey. She's just really fucking annoying and doesn't die. So I think that you just have to run top and trade in terms of neutrals. Because, like, the amount of value they get from this is way higher than the amount of value they're going to get from scoring here. Venusaur hits 9, so it's finally fully evolved. Urshi should run bot here and then TP top, and they're already too late to the objective again. Okay, this is twice now. So if I'm the coach here, I'm losing my mind. This Urshi he's been late to the objective twice to farm his jungle, which is a sign of two things to me. One, it's you're not jungle tempo. It's team tempo, but in also jungle tempo, it means your tempo is really fucking bad. Because it means that you're trying to clear this when you need to be up here. It means that your timings are bad. It means that you're not like you haven't maintained the thing. And it means that like two, you just like you're making macro mistakes. Like it's although tempo and macro I think are similar in terms of how they function, like I think that this means that your timings are fucked and this means that your decision making is fucked. And like obviously they play into each other, but I think that like this is just not okay to have him be late and let them get the neutral twice. And then, like, Hoopa just goes in here and dies. And it's like, just don't. What's it's the classic don't make a bad play disaster. Like, this is not a good play. And Hoopa going in here and dying is making it a disaster. Like I also said, I feel like the Urshifu running top is also just not... It's a signifier that I feel like he doesn't... I don't want to say think, but like he's not comfortable with Hoopa. Because like, when does he run top? Okay, so... I want to commit... So he's committing here at 550. The portal had just faded. Like, I think you can be like, hey, Hoopa should have portal up. He can drop another one, run bot, which is going to be way faster, TP top, and then I think he can get there. Obviously, it's going to be like, oh, well, then we have to fight off the Umbreon and blah, blah, blah. But Slowbro does have Surf, if I remember correctly, so it's like, I don't think that's necessarily a problem. But at the same time, like, you just can't be here. Like, he's... Like it's twice now, and I'm gonna critique it because I think it's genuinely important to like harp on these things. But again, he's late here, and then he's gonna be late up here. And it's like you can't be doing that. That's just not okay. Especially in like a relatively competitive setting. I'm assuming that everyone here is trying to take this very seriously, and they're not meme teams, but you know. So, like I said earlier, Venusaur has gone Solar Beam, which presents a really big question mark for how these three are going to play the game. God damn it, I'm pausing. I'm trying not to pause, like I said, but there's just so much to talk about. I'm also not used to the camera movement. It feels really juddery to me. I don't know if that's a spectator thing, though, because Wildwolf just seems smooth. I think it's probably just a camera thing, because this game's camera seems really juddery in general to me. Side topic over. This presents a really odd question for how these guys want to play the game. I don't know if he's surf or rapid spin yet. I don't remember. He's surf at the very least, so like, if he goes rapid spin, I guess it's a little bit different because he's having it. So like, at the very least, him and him have weird questions. Like, are you playing committal? Are you playing counter engage? Like, what are you doing here? Like, are we gonna have functional fitness issues where you're gonna continue to engage, and then Venusaur is gonna be like, "Hey guys, wait for me." And same with Hoopa, but like I said, I think that this makes a really weird like backline frontline distinction between these four. And I just don't like it. I think that like going pedal dance is 100% the move, especially with like this is a very short ranged comp. He's got like a good amount, no range, no range, no range, like an okay amount. So like I'll put like a 1 in terms of like how much range they've got. I'd say pedal dance is a 1 unupgraded, 2 upgraded. And so like I think if you get the pedal dance upgrade, you're totally fine in terms of how much space you control. I just don't like it because I think that it plays into what this comp wants, which is space control. And yeah, not a huge fan of pedal dance or solar beam here. I'm just not a huge fan of solar beam in general. That's also the other issue with pause. Does he have poison? No. I don't think he does. If he has the gunk shot or whatever, the poison one, he's trolling. That move is so fucking awful. It's actually insane compared to Giga Drain. So I think at this point also it's fair to say that every single like I think that the reason that this team is losing is not because like these guys are outplaying, but because they're just waiting for them to make mistakes. Like they're just capitalizing on the mistakes better. We think about the first pad loss. That's because of a mistake on macro where they push super hard on top lane without actually having any prio bot side, and they're just playing weak side as strong side for no reason. Mistake number 2 was first Reggie. You saw the Urshi just actually be straight up late. And the mistake number 3 was the second Reggie where we saw the Urshi just be late again, and then the Hoopa just kind of ends. I'm just not a huge fan of how this team is playing. I think that like all of these issues are very fixable though. Like I know that this is very negative sounding, and like I don't want to bash on people that I don't know, especially because like I don't feel bad about bashing on like tier 3 Chinese teams because nobody's ever gonna hear that shit from me. But like these people might see this, and I genuinely don't like super negative. And so like I do think that all of these issues are not major. I think that like if you were to just like VOD review this game, I bet like all of these players would be like, oh yeah, like this was like either a mistake or like we should have done this instead to improve it. Like bot push maybe like, hey, we just play further off pad, and then we just try to attempt to trade, or like we take the Hoopa TP early, we don't commit so hard topside when we don't know we don't have clues about numbers, especially once the Umbreon is missing, stuff like that. And then like I think that you could just ask the Urshi and they'd be like, yeah, just don't be late. So I don't think it's like super big deal. Not a lot going on here, just farming up jungle. I like to see teams farming, which is just a good thing, because a lot of teams will just forget to farm every now and then. Okay. So this is not a bad play. I mean, this is like very good in terms of trading. Hoopa pops ult though, which is not what you like to see. I don't think that's good. I think Hoopa should just say, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I like this play. Like, I understand the idea of, hey, we're gonna trade. I just wish that, like, if you're gonna do this, do it earlier, man. Because this is like good macro in terms of like what I'm looking for. Like, if I was coaching this team, again, I'm not. I don't know any of these people. If I was coaching this team, I'd be like, yeah, this is good shit. I like to see this. Because like what the enemy is doing is they're grabbing a neutral objective on bot side, which is low priority, already, guys. And what you're doing on top side is you are getting an objective that is higher priority and more XP. In terms of getting a big score and a kill. And so that's like, hey, we're doing a lot here, and we're able to get some points. Get the Venusaur 36, which is a good amount of XP, and you're like, that feels good. Like we're playing to our neutral, we're playing to our winning condition, and so that's good to see. I might also be able to get a couple more here. No, they're not. Yeah. Venusaur had Giga Drain, right? Okay, it has Giga Drain. Venusaur not using Giga Drain here, you should, yeah, it's weird. I also don't like the cutaway here, because the Urshi's about to actually go Buck Wild. This is just, so yeah, one takes the TP, and then the Venusaur's just kind of left in the dust. That said, they're going to get another big score here if they play this well. So, like, this genuinely was a really fucking positive play. And, like, yeah, you gotta shout out what you gotta shout out, which is, like, so they get the good gank here, right? You kill the Blissey, and then once you kill the Blissey, you get the score and you knock down the pads. You use the Hoopa ult to come bot side, take push onto pad, and then score big 49 bomb, plus whatever they got on top side, evening out the score big amount. Which is, like, again, very, very good stuff. Obviously not a huge fan of kind of leaving the Venusaur out to fucking dry, in terms of, like, they just get abandoned to nowhere, and this Zacian now has a fuck ton of XP, but it is what it is. You gotta take what you can get sometimes. I mean, a lot of neutral camp, a lot of camps up. I don't suppose neutral camps is the word, especially in Unite, where you can just kind of run into other people's jungles very easily. But a lot of camps up, good, EXP to grab, especially for the Venusaur. Like I said, I think you're trying to hit 13, get the second upgrade. I don't know if that's going to happen, because I'm pretty sure it just hit 12, but... Also expect to see a lot of Unites burned here, timer. Okay. We're not going to pause for Ray fight so that I don't end up being a nerd. I don't like that flash. That's a bad flash. Oh, good steal. So, yeah. Like I said, timers, burning this. Didn't get to burn that. But pretty sure Glaceon burned this as well. Just like, you like to see that in general. Like a good steal, good pushing on this allows them to make this rotation down bot side, attempt to get this pad pushed in. Yeah, Venusaur's looking to score here, Urshi's looking to score here. I don't like... Okay. So, I'm not a huge fan of the Urshi ulting here, but I think because Venusaur scores, it's worth it. So, like, you can see now, Venusaur is almost at 13. And that's also a lot of points in terms of, like, Venusaur's Unite moves, so I think that's very good. Obviously, it makes the, like, one of the best Unite moves on this team composition. Like, Koopa's is very good, obviously, for, macro reasons. Blastoise is very good. Solar Burst is okay. Like, you're never mad about single target lockdown. But, like, I think that, like, in terms of, like, hey, what are our important Unite moves? You're thinking about Urshi. Venusaur is, like, sort of, not really, though, to me. I think that it's, like, okay in terms of Unite moves. And so you like to see that the Venusaur is at least getting a lot of XP. Getting the Unite move back is, like, not ever anything you're ever going to complain about, but more importantly, level 13, big spike. And then as long as you guys can get out of here, like, as long as they get out of there with no major losses, it's like, okay, whatever, we're fine. If they give up this Reggie, that's an interesting decision. Yeah, see, I'm not sure why they want to do this. I guess they think it's a low power Reggie, it doesn't matter. And they're just like, okay, we're just going to farm, get the same amount of XP. I'd like to see them try to attempt a score if they're going to do this, like top side specifically. Because, like, you think about, hey, what did I praise earlier from these guys? I really liked watching them cross map. Like, nobody fucking cross maps in this game, and it's really fucking annoying. But like this pad is going to be weak if you know that there are people down here, because you know that people want that they want this objective, and because you know that they want this objective, they're going to shift down this way. When they shift down this way, that opens up a vacuum for you to fill space in there, and so I'd like to see them grab that, but we'll see. Yeah, it's already too late at this point. They can't score. It's also like, I guess like just having a buff is nice for the next 90 seconds. Because it'll be there until about a minute left in the game, and I doubt that either team will last it out. Again, the other reason that I think is a score is really nice here is because, like I said, I know teams track, but like you're probably like, okay, the game's very close at this point, so like having a point buffer to force them to come into you with like how much space control you have on this comp is really, really nice, and I think that any sort of point buffer is like really nice because it separates the front line. We'll actually we'll do blue. Front line, right, and then we have back line, and there's like a very clear separation in terms of like where they're gonna play in the team fight, right? Like, 'cause it's gonna be like this versus the enemy team. Front line, back line is gonna play like this. Where like you can see how condensed this front line, back line is comparatively to the enemy team, who is gonna have this like very large gap of space as like, the movement abilities from Urshi, Slowbro, and Blastoise get used. They get increased speed. They're going to sort of leave these two in the dust. And, like, although Hoopa does have escape options, like, it's going to create a space that you can either collapse into onto the front line or, like, just collapse onto the back line, and either one's going to be sort of left undone. So immediately, don't like this. If you have Hoopa, you have the ability to either send one person here, or send. You can do like a one here, and then have like one person more aggressive, or vice versa, and then like. Because, like, Hoopa basically gives you the ability to play, like a really fucking greedy. Where you can do, like, this, and then, like, I would put, like, maybe one person here, and then one person here, and then, like, put Hoopa, like, right in this area, and then have one person, like, over here. So, like, not enough space that, like, either of these people will get caught out solo, but, like, enough space that you can play greedy as can be, because you can just push onto this pad. If they move up to try to support, you can backfill this space and then just wall them here as you take Ray, like wall them here or here, and like you can make a big wall there. Like, you've got a lot of walling opportunities, and or if they try to like make a counter score, you can have this guy rotate up, and then these guys collapse here, and then these guys collapse here, and they're trapped, and it's like, there's just no winning against Hoopa in that scenario. But if you just group like this, you get rid of the biggest strength, which is his ult. And so I don't like to see that. I just think that this team should not be playing Hoopa. They do not look comfortable with how they can abuse the way that Hoopa plays the game. Like, I would rather see this team playing Blissey. Like, I feel like if they're playing Blissey, they win this game by far already. Like, they just look like they're not maximizing the amount of value that they can get on Hoopa. And whether that's like they just don't play with Hoopa a ton, or like they just don't put practice on Hoopa, or they like just feel uncomfortable in the game state, I don't fucking know. But like, there's just so many more opportunities for them to do cooler shit with Hoopa than what they're doing now that isn't even like that complex. Love to see that. Creates pressure on them to go in to pop hoop ult so that the Yoshi has to portal. But even by the time that happens, the Yoshi will have already scored 50, which means that like they're gonna have a lot of pressure on the purple side here. That is an awful hoop ult positioning, I think. I hate that. Yeah, I don't like this. Like this is bailed out, I think, as a hoop ult positioning by this ult. I think that this bails it out because like this just like pops the Urshi right into danger fucking valley. That said, Blastoise on the flank, like they ended up with the situation that I wanted. I think that they just came into it a little late, which like benefited from the fact that Purple decided to just stand on the other side of this wall up here for no reason at all. Like if Purple comes this way, I think that they're just like screwed royally because Blastoise is rotating up and like so they don't get any value out of the ult of Hoopa besides just him popping it and getting the extra stats. Wow, look at that. They get a they get a free full heal. Now, if only literally any other champion in the game could do what Hoopa just did there. I want to highlight it because it's my fucking pet peeve that people don't like immediately put Hoopa in God mode. But like this champion allows you to do things that no other champion in the game can. And I'm gonna keep saying that until people get it through their thick fucking skulls online. Because this champion allows you to break the game. It allows you to play the game in a way that no other champion can do that. It's literally like any champion you ever fucking wanted times two. Like there is nothing that it cannot do in its current state right now. And I think that that is just functionally insane. Like I am going to go out on a limb and people are going to fucking criticize me for that if they ever hear this shit. Which I doubt anybody will, because people probably won't get this far. But I think this champion is probably better than Mewtwo, and I would defend that to the day I die, because this champion's kit would have to deal so little damage, and if Mewtwo dealt a comparative little amount of damage, it'd be like a fucking useless champion and no one would ever touch it. But if this champion dealt 0 damage, it'd still be good. Like it'd still be fucking good because of the abilities that it has and the game mechanics that it allows you to cheat. And it's like it's so fucking insane that people don't recognize that to me. Zacian still has ult, which is really bad to see. Like it's been holding that shit for a minute. That said, 30 seconds. They need to fucking flip, which is never the scenario you want to be in. Because it opens you up to just getting, pub stomped. And, like, I don't want to fucking try to secure against Solar Beam. I think that's just, like, bad practice to try to secure against Solar Beam, so. Yeah. I don't like how either team played this game out. I feel like it was really played poorly. Like I said, I think that the first pad was a mistake. This was a mistake. Neutral objective was a mistake. I think that Blue's Blue gave up a neutral objective for no reason, didn't get any pressure. Like, okay, there we go. Now I can pause this. Okay, so like if we're talking about like areas where mistakes happened, that was a mistake. There were 2 mistakes here. One was Blue one was Orange having the jungler show up late. One was Purple just giving it for free and not getting any pressure on this side of the map. And then, the other ones, like, top side showed up late. Like, the biggest complaint about this game is the jungler for me. He needs to show up on time to objectives. I don't think that Orange played around Hoop as well as they should have. So that's like, the thing that I'm going to take note of. Other than that, I think Purple had, like, the game in their hands and they just beefed it super fucking hard. Yeah. how long are we at? 40 minutes. We'll call it here for video one. I'll probably just continue this game out in video two and video three. I was hoping to record two, but I didn't realize this was a 3 game series. And like I said, I'm trying to go through these just slightly bit faster. I do want to check one thing real quick. Did they show damage numbers already? Not bad from Hoopa as well. Like, just very good damage. Yeah, like I said, I think that neither team played this super well, so not a huge fan of how this went out. That said, I will see you all in the next one.